Hi again, and welcome to Connecting the Dots. Today, we're lucky enough to have Lynn OBrien here with us, and she's running for council of Chatham-Kent. Thank you very much for coming in today, Lynn.
Thank you.
And what made you think that you should run this year for council?
Well, I think it's about time we had some change, and being that I have the skills, experience, and knowledge from being not only downtown management of every shopping center in Chatham-Kent, but also my 3 years as a trustee, or 3 terms as a trustee of the former Kent County Board of Education, I think gives me a good opportunity to share those experiences and skills at a higher level.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as you know, today we're here to talk about a certain neighborhood. Our neighborhood that we talk about is Tecumseh, the Tecumseh Park neighborhood. But the reality is we're talking about a lot of different residential neighborhoods in Chatham, because really the things we're talking about are affecting a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You know? But to start out with, let's just start with a little statement here before I start with some questions. On March 21st of 2022, Council decided to move the temporary emergency homeless shelter to a former elementary school on Murray Street, which we both know is about 3 blocks down that way. Without consulting the residents of the neighborhood, no public meetings prior to council decision, no open houses, no surveys, no direct communication with residents at all prior to approving a staff recommendation. Even 23 deputations asking for prior public consultation were ignored by the majority of council and by the mayor. How would you ensure that proper prior public consultation takes place?
It should in all issues relative to neighborhoods. I don't think it's something, even though that they were in a rush, why were they in a rush? That's the question. They were well aware of the timing of the closing of the other facility, so why were they rushed? So I would ask those questions first and foremost, and ensure that they're giving and taking enough time to plan ahead and know what's happening. Homelessness in Chatham-Kent is not something new. It's been around for a great number of years, and it certainly is something that I feel that has to be dealt with. It has to, in 2 sides of the story, both from the empathy and compassionate side for those that are homeless and dealing with drug addiction in some cases, or mental health issues in other cases, or just simply don't want to live somewhere. But there's a lot of reasons why. We may not understand them all, but there's the other side where it's affecting you, the neighborhood, you, the individual, the businesses. And so we have to find that balance on what is right and how do we correct it. We have to do something. We definitely do.
Wonderful. Thank you. How would you ensure that staff recommendations are more detailed and transparent to allow for public consultation opportunities?
Isn't that an interesting topic? In Ontario, it's statistically there's not quite 12,000 homeless people, the majority of which live in the larger centres. I looked up and I thought, well, to myself, why aren't we having not an inventory, but knowing who these people are, what their issues are as far as why they're homeless, and let's find out and develop a plan around it. And in the research that I did, I pulled up actually the city of Brantford, because it's close to us. It's about 125,000 people, and I thought, everything's there. You know exactly what's going on. The stats are there. And, you know, it gives the reasons why they're homeless. I went to the Chatham-Kent website, and all I found was where to call if there's, you know, someone that might be homeless. So we need to be very transparent. Who are these people? Where are they from? What can we do to help them, to develop a strategy around alleviating the problems that we do have?
Okay. Thank you very much. In situations like this, there often leads to conflicts of interest, whether it's within yourself and your own vote or with somebody else's. How do you see yourself handling a conflict of interest if elected?
Declaration of conflict of interest is something that you don't have a choice. You have to do. And I would definitely declare a conflict in anything that's pecuniary or fiduciary in any way, shape, or form, or if there's even a question as to whether there was conflict of interest, I would declare it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now on March 7th, 2022, a staff recommendation to expand facilities and programs at Hope Haven was put on hold to investigate a $1.2 million offer from a secret group of investors to move the shelter away from downtown. The new staff recommendation with the new investor option was presented as a done deal in Chatham Daily News on Friday, March 18th, and passed by council and the mayor on Monday, March 21st. Would you have voted for a homeless shelter in any residential area? And if so, why or why not? Why or why not?
I couldn't say whether I would or I wouldn't, because I don't have enough information to make that decision. I do believe that there are other opportunities, certainly not as close to downtown or residential areas, that they could have looked. I do believe that, we all know who the contributors are, and, it's very kind of them to be able to do that. Was it the right thing to do? I can't answer that. But would I have put it there? Not necessarily. I would hope that we could have found somewhere that is, not so close to a residential area. But, they had no choice at the time. But again, my question is, why did they have no choice? And why was it such an urgent and quick thing that had to happen? I'd like answers first.
Right, that makes sense to me. And so what other information would you want before you decided to go ahead or not go ahead with this kind of situation?
Certainly time. How long did they know that obviously that this other facility was going to close? And number two, did they look elsewhere? There's a lot of empty buildings in this town that could have been converted. Some are out on Richmond Street. Some are in other locations close to bus routes. There's a lot of things that we could have done. Hindsight is 20/20. But at the end of the day, did we do that? I don't have those answers because I'm not intimate with it. I wasn't a part of it. But definitely, I would want more information and choices, or at least an opportunity to make other choices.
Okay, thanks. So, what kind of services should be put in place for homeowners when a homeless shelter moves into a neighborhood or community?
Obviously, information sharing, open houses, all of the things that you said. Definitely, you need to be involved. It shouldn't come as a shock. I don't like this transparency crap. I believe in saying everything with clear facts and information, readily available to you, the homeowner, and the public. That's how I work. I don't believe in hiding anything or sweeping under the rug. You got to say it up front and give the homeowners an opportunity to be able to have their say.
Great, thank you. Would you require municipal staff to regularly make progress reports to council on the operation of the shelter and the impact of the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
How often do you think that should happen?
Every 3 months.
Okay. And I think we've discussed already what you would have in those reports. So if we go down to homelessness in Chatham-Kent, and really in general, homelessness is not unique to Chatham-Kent. Communities across the country are struggling with the problems that lead to homelessness, and with finding the support services and resources necessary to help these people. What do you think are the leading causes of homelessness in Chatham-Kent? Maybe we've already touched on this, but let's just
yeah, we've touched on it before, but some of the causes of homelessness are obviously poverty, addictions, whether they be alcohol and or drugs. We definitely do have a problem with drugs in Chatham-Kent, and also those that are have mental challenge issues, and it's an unfortunate thing, but it's something that has been ongoing for a very, very long time. But it seems like nobody is willing to deal with it, and nobody seems to, these poor people, here, off you go. Let's stop sweeping it under the rug and let's deal with the people one-on-one, get the information, and find out what it is. Do we need to build a better shelter or a better environment, housing, that gives them the opportunity to be able to live? And sometimes I wonder, when somebody is drunk and intoxicated and falling down, police are allowed and do put them in jail. Why is it that we're not helping those that are obviously very high and not, making them, stay overnight until they're straight again. I see the difference. There's these balances, these checks and balances that I don't see happening.
Anything else that you would do to help the situation? Or anything kind of roads you would go down, things you would look into?
Well, I do believe that we obviously need better housing and better services available to our homeless people. And those include medical, they include mental, they include, as we've said, housing. And the cost of living is not only just affecting them, it's affecting a lot of people, elderly people that can't afford to live. So we've got to engage the provincial government and maybe find some answers to these issues that are ongoing, not just with the homeless, but with the elderly as well, in finding places to live that are affordable.
Agreed. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people of Chatham-Kent before the election?
I believe in being held accountable as an individual. I believe in being held accountable as a council. And I believe anyone who works for the municipality of Chatham-Kent should be held accountable. And I don't believe in not giving full disclosure of information, facts, and engagement of our community at all levels without a doubt. I am honest, I'm truthful, and I'm a very straightforward person. That's how I work. That's how I'm always going to work.
Those are strong words, Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Dan Komsky with Connecting the Dots.